Hello and welcome to the Run Testers. My name's Nick and this is our first run review of the Nike Pegasus 41, which is obviously the successor to the Nike Pegasus 40. Pretty big update this year with an all new midsole setup on the shoe. Before we dive into the details, I'm going to say that our samples for this review were provided by sportshoes.com. We are not affiliated with Sports Shoes in any way, and as always our review is completely unbiased, but I want to say thank you to them for getting the shoes out to us so we could test them. Obviously a very popular shoe and one we were keen to test and give our thoughts on. So Pegasus 41 is £130 in the UK, $140 in the US. It weighs in at 291 grams or 10.3 ounces in my UK size 9 and has a 10mm drop. It's about the same weight as the Pegasus 40 despite the fact the stack height has been increased. I've seen several reviews say 37mm at the heel and 27 at the forefoot. I've not had that confirmed by Nike, but that seems about right, and that would be a rise of around 4mm on the Pegasus 40. So Pegasus 41 is a pretty big update on the Pegasus 40 after what had been a couple of fairly small updates to the shoe. Instead of the React foam in the midsole combined with the Air Zoom pods, you now have Nike's ReactX foam, which was first saw introduced on the Nike Infinity Run 4 last year. It's meant to be a foam that gives you more energy return and is also more environmentally friendly with a lower carbon footprint. You've still got those two Air Zoom units in the midsole as well, one of the heel, one of the forefoot, that give a little bit more firmness and hopefully a little bit more pop to the midsole than we saw in the Infinity Run when it was just a ReactX midsole, which is pretty soft material but didn't really feel like it gave me a lot back in the Infinity if I was trying to up the pace at all. You've still got a breathable engineered mesh upper, but Nike says this has been tweaked to be more breathable and a little bit more lightweight than on previous models of the Pegasus. Got quite a big stiff internal heel counter on the shoe, a little bit of padding around back there, lots of padding on the tongue. I love a big padded tongue on the Pegasus these days. Then you've got a waffle tread outsole, which is pretty similar to the one on the Pegasus 40 but with slightly different kind of lug shapes, especially on this outside part of the shoe. The outsole on the Pegasus has been very good for me on the last few models in terms of both grip and durability. Expect it to be the same here. When it comes to the fit of the shoe, I've got the same size here that I've had across pretty much every Nike shoe I've ever tested. I've got a UK 9, which is a US 10. The fit is very similar to the Pegasus 40, and I would say it's good in my normal running shoe size. I've got enough room in the toe box, but not an excess of room. Hold around the midfoot and heel is certainly very secure. Problems potentially with the shoe will be at the Achilles for me. I find with big stiff internal heel counters like this, I sometimes get a bit of irritation. I felt like I had that a little bit during the first run today, but actually over the course of the rest of the day, I've not really felt it's been flaring up more than usual. So I'll give it a bit more time to test on that ahead of our full review. But yeah, it's a big stiff internal heel counter here, the kind that can irritate the Achilles tendon I found. Otherwise, the upper seam's pretty typical Pegasus stuff. A little bit warm and padded on the top of the shoe there, but very comfy with that big padded tongue. Then a bit more breathable around the toe box. And like I say, good fit in my normal size. So I took the Pegasus 41 out for my first run earlier today, a nice sunny day here in the UK. I did an easy hour in the shoe and then I came home and did a short run wearing the Pegasus 40 on one foot and the 41 on the other. Nice relaxed pace today. I did a 10k race yesterday, so I was just looking for a comfortable shoe, and that is what the Pegasus 41 is. You've got lots of comfort from this new ReactX midsole for sure. It feels a little bit softer, a little bit squishier than the foam on the Pegasus 40, the normal React foam. I think it probably has a little bit more pop to it than we had with the all ReactX midsole in the Nike Infinity Run 4. Like, I still don't necessarily feel after one run this is going to be a particularly versatile shoe or anything like that, but it was comfortable. It did the job today as a daily trainer. One thing I find quite noticeable with the Pegasus in general and still with the Pegasus 41 is it's not really got much of a rocker at all. It feels like a very traditional shoe in the way it kind of slaps through if you're a heel striker like myself, rather than getting a slightly more smooth roll through. And there are shoes with similar drops to this, like kind of that 10mm drop, that feel a bit smoother and a bit more kind of controlled in the way they go through the foot strike, something like the Velocity Nitro from Puma, which has a dual density midsole. I guess you've got a dual density midsole here, but not in the same way with the units encased within it rather than one top layer and one bottom layer. But yeah, it was comfortable today. I did a mix of road and trail, light trails today. It's been quite sunny here, so there wasn't too much mud out there. And yeah, it was good on the light trails, as it always tends to be the Pegasus with this very good outsole. I was moving at some slightly faster speeds in the second half of the run today, but nothing I'd even consider like steady pace. It was all just quite an easy pace today. It felt okay on some slightly faster kilometers here and there, but overall I think this is probably one that I would view more as a cruiser of a shoe, kind of a big cushion daily trainer that I'd restrict mostly to easy runs. But I don't think it's going to be any less versatile than really past models of the Pegasus, so if you did consider those good all-rounder daily trainers, I think you get a similar level of performance here. When I came back and ran in both shoes at the same time, it did feel that little bit more squishy underfoot with this ReactX midsole. Like, it's not a drastic change overall because the ride of the shoe still feels quite similar with the drop. And although this has a slightly higher stack height, it didn't really feel that much different on the run. I still think you get a slightly thin feeling under the forefoot at times. It's just maybe not as cushioned there as some other shoes these days. You have got a more comfortable ride, I'd say, overall with the new version of the shoe without really adding too much weight or losing versatility compared to the previous model, I'd probably say. So yeah, it was okay first run out in the Pegasus. It's kind of what you expect with Pegasus. Nothing too dramatic, nothing too exciting, but reasonably solid job. pretty solid first outing in the Pegasus 41 today. It's not a shoe that wowed me in any way. It feels very much in the mold of the previous models of the shoe, which is to say it's a pretty solid daily trainer. That's kind of what it's always been. I think it's probably a less versatile shoe than it always used to be, the Pegasus, over the past, actually quite several generations now. It's moved much more into a cushion shoe category for me. I think in general, Nike still lacks that really versatile, lightweight, all-rounder trainer that lots of brands do have these days, whether they're plated or unplated. Things like the New Balance Rebel V4 or Hoka Max 6 as unplated options, and then obviously there's lots of super trainers with plates, but the Pegasus 41 feels like more of a cushion shoe than those kind of versatile shoes to me. You've got a slightly softer feeling with this foam, but overall I still think it sticks mostly to the blueprint of the Pegasus, which has made it a very popular shoe. And if you really like the shoe, I think probably going to be satisfied with this new model. Don't think the new foam has changed things dramatically, but I think it has maybe slightly improved the ride in terms of adding comfort without taking anything away for me. But this is a very competitive area and a very competitive price point these days. Off the top of my head, there are two shoes that I had a better feeling about from the very first run, which is like the Asics Nova Blast 4 and the Puma Velocity Nitro 3. The Puma's cheaper, the Asics is the same price. I'd probably prefer something like the Hoka Max 6 as a general daily trainer as well, if you're looking at shoes that are still well cushioned but are much more light and versatile, I'd say. This has a bit more comfort than something like the Hoka, but I don't think the Asics or the Puma are any less comfortable, and I do think they have slightly more enjoyable rides. But it's very early days. I'm not going to give any full verdicts on the Pegasus 41 just yet. It was a solid enough run today. I'll get out and do some faster stuff in the shoe before our full review. But for now, my initial take is it feels okay, but there are probably going to be other options in the market that I'd be looking at ahead of it. So that's our first look at the Nike Pegasus 41. Let us know what you think in the comments below. As mentioned at the top, we got our review sample from Sports Shoes, so thanks again to them. We'll have a link to the shoe in the comments below. Other than that, please like, subscribe, ring the little bell, and we'll see you next time.